Today we're going to be focusing on adjacent and vertical angles. Adjacent angles are two angles that share a common side and have the same vertex. So in this picture we've got two angles. I've got this one right here and I've got this one right here on the bottom. And they share this common side in the middle and they share the same corner, which we call a vertex. Because they share that vertex and a common side, we call them adjacent angles. Vertical angles are two angles that are opposite from each other when formed by the intersection of two lines. So these two that have the pink highlighting, they're vertical angles. So would these two be vertical angles? These two that are larger here and don't have any shading. And something that's interesting about vertical angles is they're also congruent to each other. So if this angle measures 70 degrees, so does this angle. If this angle is 110 degrees, so is this angle. Congruent angles are angles that have the same measure. So in this diagram, I have two 45-degree angles. I would call them congruent angles. So for our first example, we're going to be naming angles. So we have this diagram and we're being asked to find a pair of adjacent angles. So there are more than one possibility here, but we're looking for one pair of adjacent angles. So I have angle ABF. An angle ABF shares a side and a vertex with angle FBE. So that is one example of some adjacent angles in this diagram. I'm also being asked to find a pair of vertical angles, two angles with the same measure that are opposite each other when formed by intersecting lines. So if I ignore this line right here, I've got two lines here that intersect, and angle ABF right here, starting with the same angle again, would be vertical opposite angle DBC. And we could see they'd also have what looks to be the same measure. And because they're vertical angles, we know they are going to be the same measure. So in this picture here, we have a set of vertical angles. Since I know that vertical angles are congruent, I don't have to actually do any measuring here. Since this X angle is across from the 70-degree angle, I know that angle X actually measures 70 degrees. Here I have two adjacent angles, because they share this vertex right here and they have a common side. Together, I see that these two angles form 90 degrees. This box right here in the corner is the indicator that together these two angles form a right angle or 90 degrees. So if I add these two up, X plus 4 and the 31 degrees, they're going to equal up to a total of 90. X plus 4 plus 31 can be simplified. 4 and 31 gives us 35. And then if I subtract 35 from each side, I get that angle X is 55 degrees, or X is 55 degrees. This entire angle right here is worth 59 degrees. And for our last example, we're going to be drawing some congruent angles. They want us to draw a pair of vertical angles using a 40-degree angle. So this is where you will need your protractors. So the first thing you're going to have to do is construct a 40-degree angle. So I'm going to draw a line here, oops, using the straight edge of my protractor. And I'm going to decide that right here is going to be the vertex of my angle. Just pick somewhere in the middle of the line. From here, I'm going to measure and find a 40-degree angle. So it'll be right here. Now, if I draw this angle to the vertex, I'll have one 40-degree angle. But if I actually continue on, straight through the vertex, I'll create a second 40-degree angle that's also a vertical angle to my first 40-degree angle. So I have a pair of vertical angles with a measure of 40 degrees.